Let's talk Julio Jones and the Cleveland Browns now. Now, previously, the Browns, had been speculatively linked as a potential destination for Julio Jones. They got the money. They can make it work. They could use another big-time receiver. You could move Odell Beckham and or Jarvis Landry. However, the Cleveland Plain Dealer has reported the Browns are not interested in adding Julio, and they have no desire to pick him up. Instead, they're going to roll with Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry. Now, if I were the Browns, regardless of whether or not I had interest in Julio Jones, that is what I would leak. That would be my statement to the media, like, we're good there. Because worst case scenario is you let it get out that you want Julio Jones, and then you don't, and then OBJ and Jarvis sitting there like, what are we, chopped liver? Now, adding Julio Jones would take that Browns offense, if he's fully healthy, to another level. Even in just 9 games last year, he had 771 yards, all right? 15.1 was his average there in the end, and he had 3 touchdowns. Julio, when healthy, I think is still a number 1 receiver. Like, I think very clearly is the case there. The issue for Cleveland is they've committed financially to Odell Beckham and to Jarvis Landry. And in an offense that likes to use multiple tight ends and run the football a lot and not throw it nearly as often, the exact roles and usage, if you were to add Julio to that roster, isn't as clear as a more pass-happy organization that wants to use 3 receivers, 65, 70% of the time. So because of that, things are a little bit dicey in terms of how you would make it work. Now, I am of the mindset that probably Jarvis Landry more so than Odell Beckham, I would be prepared to part with one of those players to help me make room for Julio Jones on this roster. You saw what Julio Jones did in his limited sample size last year of just the 9 games. Compare that, however, with 67 catches for 942 yards. So in a 16-game average here, Odell's putting up 942 yards. In 9 games last year, Julio had 771. Compared to Jarvis Landry, over a 15-game sample size last year, 840. Again, yes, the Falcons do throw it a little bit more, but I think that only the most homerish of Browns fans would be of the mindset of, hey, even though Landry's a great locker room guy, he's definitely better than Julio Jones. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So because of that, if I were the Browns, I would have interest in exploring the market for Julio Jones. So knowing that allegedly the Browns aren't going to do it, you can still get your votes in as to what you guys would rather do. Would you trade Landry and or Odell Beckham to go out and acquire Julio Jones? Get your votes in for me. Type D for deal or type in N for no deal.